Hey, it's Sam with the full moon in Gemini forecast. Now we're going to have a full moon in Gemini in Mrigashira, Nakshatra on December 17th, early in the morning. Pacific time, it'll be about 1 a.m. and Eastern time it's about around 4 a.m. The exact Purnima, the exact full moon. But, you know, we'll experience a lot of it on December 16th because the moon will be big and bright in the sky for most of us on that night. And when you look up in the sky, you'll see Jupiter pretty close by. The moon will be approaching Jupiter in the sky as it becomes full on Monday night and then into Tuesday. And then, of course, the next day the moon will get even closer to Jupiter. Jupiter is about 24 degrees in the sky, 24 of Gemini right now. So the next couple of days after the full moon, you'll see the moon get right on top of Jupiter. So this is very auspicious, of course, you know, for the full moon itself, and also because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, which is where the sun is. So the full moons are the opposition point, the opposite point of the current sun sign, the current sun occupation. And so the sun goes into Sagittarius on the 16th, and that's sidereal Sagittarius. And so that'll be a 30-day cycle of really, you know, focusing on higher meaning and purpose. And it actually has more to do with our beliefs, which is more of what we would call a kind of religious bent. Now, many of us, especially who, you know, follow astrology and whatnot, we say, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. But really, this whole kind of false question is more around belief when it comes to Jupiter. And belief really has more to do with our sort of religion and what we believe in. All of the planets are spiritual. They all have a quality of spirituality, which is about practices and techniques. But the quality of belief and a path that we walk and staying on that path because of our beliefs, that whole thing is Jupiter. Now, it's been codified into formalized religions, but religions aren't the only kind of belief system. And what's important with Jupiter stuff is not that the beliefs become these abstract principles, I believe, but that we actually do the practices. And so, so Jupiter has to do with the principle of belief and that abstract quality that we believe, and it gives us hope, and that keeps us on track in life. And then that becomes spiritual when we actually do the practices. So the practices with Jupiter actually have to do with things like pujas and ceremonies and teaching and bringing wisdom and growth to others and to ourselves. So this is important because the sun's going through Sagittarius and will be for the next 30 days. So it's a good time to really bring that kind of wisdom and knowledge out into the world. And the opposition point of the moon in Gemini is what we're going to be experiencing on this full moon. So, you know, again, we need to harmonize the literal details and the, you know, the way things work, which is Gemini, the quality of flexibility, where we don't just believe something because we were told that, and it's easy to believe, and I just have this belief. You know, like when people paint religion in the lowest terms, it's like, well, it's fine that you believe, but, you know, what if it's wrong? And, you know, I'm sure you're comforted by your beliefs, but maybe your beliefs are just stupid and they don't make sense. And unfortunately, to some extent, some religious, you know, some people have that relationship with their religion where it's untested. So the Gemini principle is to test our beliefs so they make sense to us. And often what happens is people on a quest will maybe believe something, and then what will happen is they'll see something that shows the hypocrisy of the religion. And that's the Gemini principle. It's going, well, but that doesn't make sense. You're saying this, but you're doing that. Saying this, saying Mercury, but you're doing that. Like, no, that ain't right. And that's Gemini. Gemini is like the kind of, you know, the scientist who always is at odds with the belief of the priests. Now, these are two extremes. What we're really trying to do is unite those opposites so that our religion and what we believe in, what we believe, makes sense to us as well, and we practice it and we test it. You know, all great teachers will insist that you ask them questions. There's no wisdom teaching or great guru or great spiritual tradition ever, anywhere, that says just believe blindly. That doesn't mean that at some point, if we're given an answer and the answer works and we see it works, that we should just keep conjuring up more questions because then the questions become an opposition, become an obstacle as well. But uniting the opposites of belief and inquiry are what Jupiter, or what the Sagittarius-Gemini axis is about. And in fact, Jupiter has been in Gemini since June of 2013, and so this has been a very rich principle that we're all working on right now and trying to bring into greater harmony. So the moon in Mrigashira Nakshatra is really important. Mrigashira it literally means deer head, and it's where Taurus becomes Gemini. Taurus and Gemini, it exists equidistant in both signs. 640 of Taurus and 640 of Gemini is Mrigashira, and you can see the real beauty of that nakshatra as bridging Taurus and Gemini, because Taurus is a cow or a bull, which is a big slow animal, and Gemini is two people, like engaged. And so you can see how a deer is kind of both of those things. It's an animal, it's a gentle, placid animal, but it's also fast and it's kind of skittish. So this quality of Mrigashira, this kind of harmonizing the kind of animal beauty, gentle, placid quality of a deer with the curiosity of Gemini is what the nakshatra is about. And, you know, it's called the wandering star. The deity is called Soma, which is the god of the immortal nectar. And it's where we search for that sense of beauty and you know, that sense of beauty in life, that kind of innocent quest for truth and beauty. And so it's one of the most gentle nakshatras, Mrigashira. It's a mridu, or soft, gentle nakshatra. People who have a lot of planets there usually have they might have the face of a deer. They have that sort of gentle quality, at least on the surface, if they have a lot of planets there or whatever planet is there. So it is that kind of gentle nakshatra that often invites a kind of inquiry. And it's also quite, you know, it's called the wandering star, the searching star, where there's always a kind of searching. And so that's quite important also to keep in mind on the new moon and for the next, you know, the next 30 days, you know, the full moon. The full moon cycles are really a time when our consciousness has like ripened into this moment, and this is going to be our kind of prevailing consciousness or prevailing feeling maybe for the next, you know, 30 days. Again, you can't say every day it's going to be like that, but I mean, this is a kind of fully developed emotional cycle and lesson at this time. And that generally lasts into the next 30-day cycle. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to how this works. And see how your mind is imprinted by the qualities of Mrigashira and Gemini for the next 30 days, your mind, heart, and consciousness. And, you know, other things that are important, we still have that Jupiter-Saturn aspect at around 25 degrees of Libra and Sagittarius. So any planets you might have around there will be, you know, getting the benefit both of concentration and effort, which is Saturn, as well as hope and optimism, which is Jupiter. So, you know, that can be improving relationships, or, you know, making it so that you have hope that things can work out, but you still need to be determined to work on those things. So work, effort, and hope, and Guru's teaching and grace can all sort of be coming together, especially if you have planets around 20 to, you know, 20, 22, 23, up to about 26, 27 of Libra or Sagittarius. You might see a lot of that happening right now. And also Mars is going to be aspecting the Sun as it goes through Sagittarius for the next 30 days or so. So there'll be a lot of that kind of return to discipline and powerful action. And the last thing is the Sun will be hemmed between Mercury and Venus as well as it goes through Sagittarius. And the hemming, you know, just creates a very cooperative environment. So a lot of these, you know, higher you know, beliefs and sense of purpose will be in a cooperative environment right now. And we're about to have Venus go retrograde, so I'll talk more about that later, but I just wanted to give you this video about the full moon in Gemini, and I'll also do the forecast for my gold members at my website. If you want to see how this is going to affect your sign, I do a full and new moon forecast as well as a full monthly forecast for my members. You can check it out for only 1 penny for 2 weeks right now if you want. Check that out. and you can cancel at any time, and you'll be able to see how this full moon in Gemini will affect your sign. So go ahead and do that too if you like.